Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Particle Accelerator Podcast, where we think and talk to future thinking business leaders about how to accelerate their business and grow their team. I'm here today with Rafsan. Rafsan, would you introduce yourself? And first off, make sure I pronounce your name properly.
Oh yeah, you pronounced it perfectly.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. My name is Rafsan Bhuiyan, and I've been a data engineer for a long time. I love AI. I live in Colorado in a small town. Used to be small town, but now it's Erie. It's very modern. It's close to Boulder. It is in Boulder County. I love technology. My love for technology started a long time ago. Since 2010, I've been into writing code and all that. And I also have military background. I was active duty in Hawaii for 7 years as a wheeled vehicle mechanic. I've been a data analyst, data scientist, AI engineer, data engineer, lead software developer for CarMax now. And then I've also been a software AI adoption strategist or in the lead AI engineer for T-Mobile, working with OpenAI to introduce and run AI adoption for pilot program in T-Mobile, where we introduce AI and teach executives on what it is and how can they build and deploy AI automations within their departments as quickly as possible. So it's a top-down approach. If your leaders are well-versed in AI, then your engineers are going to be that better. So now each department in T-Mobile is like its own AI powerhouse. They're building custom GPTs. Even custom GPTs, not very deep and very technical, but at least they're getting started with that. So some of them even write code. So it's very impressive
Yeah.
how AI adoption works.
Yeah, cool. Cool that you're in Colorado in the Boulder area. I went to elementary school in Lakewood, and then my parents moved to Pueblo, Colorado, and I went to junior high and high school in Pueblo, and then I went to Colorado School of Mines right down there in Golden.
I love going to Gold.
Yeah, that was a good place to go to college. The Golden City Brewery had dollar pints on Fridays, and I benefited from that quite a few times.
What's your favorite beer from Colorado?
So it's been a long time.
Yeah.
Past couple of years, unless it's an old fashioned on a special night, I really haven't partaken. What I love about coming to Colorado, because that's a favorite vacation spot for my family, we actually went to Estes Park for Christmas, a destination Christmas for the first time ever. Last July, some buddies of mine went and hiked Mount Harvard. What I love about Colorado is that the diversity of beers is crazy. On a hot day, I tend to go for something a little bit on the lighter side. I'm not a hop head, so I'll usually try to stay with something refreshing if I'm gonna partake in a beer.
Oh, yeah, same here. I keep my mind open to all different kinds of beer and my taste buds. But I love it. I love it here in Colorado. It's really nice.
So I'd love to get to know you. The way that I do that is I want to ask, as a human being, how did you make your first dollar?
That's a very good question. My first dollar was educating people. I was in Bangladesh when I made, like, it's Taka. Taka is the right currency. I was born and raised in Bangladesh and I stayed there till I was 20. My first dollar happened in Bangladesh. So tutoring was a big thing. My first tutoring role was, I believe that was when I was like 15, 16. It's like, hey, can you teach us 5-year-old math problems? I taught him how to add, multiply, and made my first salary. So I would say Taka was my first, but when it comes to dollar, I think when I moved to Saipan, which is close to Guam, and so there was a war and Japan and USA, and if you go to the History Channel, you hear a lot about Saipan. I went there to live with my uncle and to do high school. So that's where I completed my high school in Miranda's high school. There, I lawn mowed for every weekend, and that's how I mowing lawn was my first dollar, technically.
Yeah, cool. Was there a toy or a hobby that you had as a kid that you think might have inspired what you do career wise today?
That's a very good question. A toy or a hobby? So, when I was a young kid, I would be fascinated by computers. So in Bangladesh, we were a lot behind on technology compared to United States of America. So when we were still trying to get cassettes and play it on our house, it's like in America, they already had CDs and DVDs out by then. Every time I went to my school and I saw a computer, I would be fascinated. And we had like lab rooms that you could go once a week for an hour. And I clearly remember the smell once I entered the lab room, like new computer smell. And I'd sit and I'll play video games. And I'll play Aladdin. I would play, what was that, the ping pong with a ball and the thing that you can
Yeah.
bounce. Doom was my favorite. So that, I feel like that was my first favorite toy, but I didn't own it. And I always
Yeah.
envisioned myself owning it. I finally got it when I was 8 years old, but that was my first toy, computers. Loved it.
Cool. When I was in elementary school, we would go to the lab. The lab had Apple IIs, so that'll date me a bit. And the thing that they exposed us to was this really cool program. You can find emulators online, but it was this thing called Logos. There was a turtle, and the turtle was a little triangle. You could give the turtle instructions. So you could say the beginning instruction was to say forward 90, and then you could say L turn 90 or right turn 90, and then it would turn 90 degrees, and then you could say forward 90. You do that 4 times and you create a square. Then they taught you how to do a repeat function. So you could repeat the simple forward 90, right turn 90, and you repeat that 4 times and it did a square. I already saw looping and compression. As you evolved it, you could do spirograms and flowers and intricate patterns. You could even say pen up, pick the pen up and put the pen down. My first computer experience was programming. They just put me down in front of a computer and said, "Hey, write this program. Here's how it works." I just remember myself and my classmates coming up with wild patterns and designs, drawing pixels. It was super, super, super cool. That'll date us a little bit in age. But yeah, as you get older, you're like, I need a computer. I need to figure out how to do stuff on this. I need to see what I can make it do. If the best thing it could do was Dune, then let's play some Dune.
Yeah, I 100% agree. One of my tutors, we all had tutors in Bangladesh to learn different things. He went to the USA and he brought a cell phone, BlackBerry, but it was the first one with stylus and you could use it as a touchscreen with the stylus. I was
Yeah.
fascinated because he opened a map app year 2003 and I was like, oh my God, what's this?
Yeah.
He's moving the map and he's like, this is Bangladesh right here. I was just like shocked. But yeah, I love it. Computers are amazing.
So, what's a quote from a famous person that lives in your mind rent free?
I've written down lots of quotes. I used to do affirmations and I used to write down affirmations, right? You are who you think you are. I believe one of the quotes that whatever you believe in, you become, or at least you get drawn into it, or you pave your own fortune to become that person. Another quote that stays fresh in my mind because I made it basically AI is the modern day shovel. And the meaning of it is AI is a modern day tool. If you can think of it as a shovel, you can figure out a million use cases for it and use it the right way. You just have to push yourself a little bit because it's new. It seems intimidating, but once you interact with it and work with it, it becomes like a tool, like a shovel.
Yeah, really cool.
Mhm.
I love affirmations. One of my affirmations is I don't waste time, I get the most out of my time. And that's an important affirmation. I love affirmations because we shape our identity through what we choose to believe. And identity, governments and religions have been using identity to manipulate behavior for all of history.
Yeah.
So if we can take that power for ourselves, what are some other affirmations you have since you mentioned it?
Yeah, some other affirmations, mental clarity, right? Mental clarity, just these two words is an affirmation. I have a 20-day-old son. He's newborn, and I have a
Oh, great.
year-old daughter. Sometimes when I'm working and I'm having important meetings in my house, they're running it. They're breaking through the door. My 2-year-old is like, "Oh, I'm right here," like distracting me. The dogs are coming in. And there's like a lot of distraction. But mental clarity is a word that I look for sometimes. And I find peace because it tells me the purpose that I have is to be a great dad, but also to provide by being an entrepreneur and do what I do. So it's best that when I'm in my free time, I'm able to think about mental clarity. I think I can also relax my mind a little bit. So that brings in a lot of peace.
Yeah. So, first off, I want to thank you for your service. You spent over 6 years in the Army.
Thank you.
I'm the only non veteran in my family for many generations. I think my youngest brother started out in a similar area as you. He's now a chief warrant officer about to retire. He went through a Humvee mechanic. So, you went from being a wheeled vehicle mechanic in the Army to now building AI agents that solve $1 trillion business problems. What was the pivotal moment that shifted your career trajectory towards AI and data science?
That's a great question. While I was in the army, I was getting tuition assistance and I was in college the whole time chasing after my computer science bachelor's degree with a concentration in data science and machine learning and AI. And I was studying it. And AI in 2016, 17 was just concepts that you're learning. You understand machine learning, there is code for it, but these are some concepts you're learning. But I loved data visualization. The first time I visualized data using Python code, it was like 2017. I was like, oh, wow, what's happening? This is crazy. All I knew was Java before that. Everybody talked about Java. It was booming back then. I loved computer science, and I always told myself, once I'm out, because I had a 6.5 year contract, almost 7 years from the army. I was like, once I'm out, I'm getting to myself a tech job. And what can I do to get there? And every night, I remember I would have a 13-hour shift in the army. Sometimes you can't tell, you can't control it. It's 18, 13 hours. I would come home and I would always open that book, the computer, get my homework done, get myself motivated, and go to sleep. I would tell myself, you know what? I'm getting to that retirement or whatever end of my contract soon, and I'm going to get a computer science job and be a computer scientist, a data scientist. So that was the motivation. Every time I was on the field doing push-ups, low crawling on the dirt, I was thinking about computer science the whole time. It's, you know what? I'm going to write badass code when I'm out, because that's what I want to do. That's what makes me happy. So it's a dream. And I knew if I chased it enough, I could make it. And I did.
Your military background includes managing teams and complex systems under pressure. How do those leadership skills translate to building AI solutions and managing engineering teams?
Oh, yeah. In the army, there was always coordination. You have the next assignment coming soon. So you couldn't be comfortable. Things that were assigned to you, you had to get it done fast. And sometimes you wouldn't even have the right tools. So you have to improvise and get to another team really quickly, or you have to improvise and figure out how to use it. So starting from installing CoPro system top of Humvees and doing tests on it, night vision, LiDAR, and whatever there is in the Crow system, to fixing Humvees and diesel engine. We had to figure it out. There were times where we couldn't get the oil filter to open in a huge diesel truck. So I took out my belt and I was like, all right, we're going to use this. I twisted around that filter. I tried, but then buddies came in, we joined together and we pulled it and it was out. So these are some of the things. Improvising is what really built the fundamental strength in the military, and then it converted to me adapting to the fastest growing and changing industry, which is computer science, data engineering. Now it's AI. 2 weeks later, it's AI agent. Things are moving so fast. Tools are being deployed faster than people can keep up. What I do, I tell my mind, don't focus on the tools, focus on the framework, and you'll get there. That's what
For
I'm
sure.
telling myself, but it is frustrating sometimes.
Yeah. So I own a boutique consultancy and we have our core values spell elite, and we've modeled our core values off of special operations. My CEO coach is a former Green Beret. I've studied the differences between the regular army and special operators. Some of the comparison might not be super friendly to folks like my brother who are in the regular army. There is a difference in if you're thinking about deploying the regular army, which is really like bodies. I'm going to deploy a whole bunch of bodies, and then all the logistics and related to that. That's like building your internal operations and you're building the regular army. And there's so much involved in that. We've modeled our culture off of being SEAL Team 6, right? So a DevOps guy, so front end, a back end, a QA, and a little bit of project management to just attack an objective. I wonder if you could also see those differences as you were involved in the Army and then later you worked with the DoD. Can you help me a little bit with those differences between a special operations crew or a cross-functional team versus deploying mass resources? Because this parallel is super in the way that we think at my company.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There is a key difference, right? So if you have just the regular military that you're deploying, it takes a lot of resources to do that. Bigger companies, I would imagine, will be able to deploy big part of the army that requires your food, ration, the weapon systems, and then you have your vehicles being shipped to that specific area. So lots of transportation costs. And then you have the SEAL Team 6 that goes out there and does the mission. And us regular army, we don't even feel it. We don't even know that they're there. I was training 6 months out of a year in the fields, in the dirt, in North Carolina, in Philippines, in different areas. There, you couldn't even tell who SEAL Team 6 are, but they're there doing real training with you. When I compare it to the tech world, I really feel like SEAL Team 6 is you. If it's a small team, you're a startup. you have to at least have the mentality to be SEAL Team 6. It's almost like you're going through boot camp to become a SEAL Team 6 right from the start. And then you can join the regular army later. If certain type of contract existed where you have to be so competitive, you have to be the SEAL Team 6, and then you join the regular army later to take a breather, that's what's really going on right now because the AI industry is super competitive. There are computer science jobs that you can start off soft. But when I think of it, like the situation I'm in, I think of, you know what, we're training for the SEAL Team 6. It's not even about building a product anymore. It's about how fast can you keep going? What's your runway? And are you willing to not give up? Talk to as many people as possible and don't lose that dream as your team is building that software. How do you adapt? AI agents are coming in fast. AWS, Google, AI agent marketplace. How do you compete with that? That's something we have to think about, but we are very strong in our core values and we just keep moving forward and don't lose hope. That's all I can say.
Yeah. So you have top secret clearance and you worked on DoD projects that saved 30% of government funds. How did working with classified high stakes systems prepare you for enterprise AI challenges?
Sure. That's a very good question. Classified high-tech system, top secret clearance, being in a skiff. We went through a lot of training to get these clearances. And right when we get a job after that clearance, we have to go through another set of training even before you enter the skiff, right? You have to sign different kind of paperwork, admin stuff. But at the end of the day, I learned about security, data protection, cybersecurity. I even have CompTIA Security Plus certificate, which is, it took a little bit. It was challenging, but I had to get it done in a month because of my top secret clearance. These are some of the things that really teach you, even though you are a data engineer, you still have cybersecurity background, which gives you an advantage because you understand what is a live data system. If you're using, let's say, Azure Event Hub, how can you protect it? Do you use mutual MTLS search or do you use some sort of other VPN? How do you segment the network to protect those live systems versus systems that are static? So it really gave me a lot of training around data security, understanding what to talk about when you talk to people, understanding when they say insider threats from the government, what do they mean, and how does it transfer into civilian is very important. Some things are confidential, even in the startup realm, and you need to know how to protect that. And you need to train the people around you to protect that.
I noticed on your LinkedIn that you claim to be solving the $3 trillion problem of missed revenue opportunities. Can you break down what that means and how three AI agents working together can capture revenue that businesses are currently missing?
Yeah. So businesses, especially in high demand businesses like construction, plumbing, and electricians. My basement leaked 2 times. This is the second time already. I couldn't get anybody over on the phone at 8 p.m. at night. There was nobody to schedule an appointment for the next day. So everybody's like, leave a voicemail, or it would go to a call center and they were not very helpful. And
Yep.
so time and time again, I see these things happening where even on a Monday, I call a construction company, just goes to a voicemail. These people, they don't have time to answer the phone. They're building something, they're fixing pipes. But while they're doing that, they're missing opportunities that they could have had if there was a system for them to get it. Have you ever felt like Googling a plumbing service and then you call them and your Google site closes down and you don't know which service you called? You don't even know their names. Oh, shoot, the call didn't go through. Let me call someone else. That's another missed opportunities. So missed opportunities like that exist in not only in construction, but in multiple other industries, especially consulting firms. There might be a very high important client that may be calling you, but he's not able to get to you, or they don't have the time to send you an email. That's when I brainstormed OrionQ Sales AI Agent, which is going to solve a lot of this problem by being an AI agent that does voice calls, picks up the phone, takes your information, sends you a digital business card so you don't forget about that business. It also has dynamic field for bookman scheduling and whatnot. And it takes in any information, answers any question you need, schedules an appointment on your calendar, or transfers you to a real person in case you don't want to talk to that AI agent. These are some of the things I thought about, and I'm like, you know what? This could really be used. What if it helped people as a tool, like a shovel? Going back to the shovel expense, right? That's
Yeah.
how I came with the idea of Gentic framework.
Yeah. So what you're solving there is the speed to lead problem. Folks are going to websites, they're contacting the businesses. Many people need to have a few questions answered before they're comfortable to move forward with either that first demo appointment or the first scheduling of the service appointment in the services industry. I agree with you. We're seeing this huge need, especially in small business, where it's like, hey, the agent, the chatbot on the website knows enough about the business to answer those preliminary, what we call pre-sales questions. And then, okay, cool. Yes, I'm ready to schedule whatever that first lead qualification event, that MQL, if you will. Yes, I want to have somebody come check my HVAC. This is a huge missed opportunity because folks want that speed to lead. They want to put in a limited amount of time, get a couple of questions answered, and then schedule that first appointment. I think that's a huge thing. And it's actually really simple. What are the questions that when you do take those calls, you always answer them, right? There are those pre sales calls that always get asked. And if the agent knows those, I think that's a great opportunity. If you were doing nothing else but giving that to small businesses, I think that would be a huge opportunity.
Oh yeah, absolutely. When I first built OrionQ, we have three products: lead gen, marketing, sales AI agent is the voice. Lead gen does like figures out way to find you lead. And we have different concepts, and marketing pulls in user interaction data and also your Instagram, Facebook, social media campaign data, marketing campaign data, and pulls it and makes sense out of it. We actually score the leads. We create a scoring algorithm to score and understand which leads would convert versus what should you chase. So the thing is, there's like tons of neighborhoods. There's so many different people, so many different businesses. The problem I'm seeing is that people are sending mailers, like plumbing companies sending mailers to everybody in this community. And most people are just throwing it because they don't need it. What if you could figure out a way with being in the right place in the right time with the data that you have? Do they have a backyard? Can we figure out if they have a backyard? Can you target the mailing, make it more purposeful to the point that it actually goes to the people that care about plumbing service? Maybe they just bought the house. How does that work? So think that these are some of the things that I always think about. One thing that always annoys me, I'm sure it annoys everybody else too. Press one for this, press two for that. This is a different time we live in. You know, right? When you talk to a bank, sir, please hold on. Let me get more information from my manager about the travel card you're talking about. AI agents can take care of all those information. All they have to do is run a query and take all your information. Then when they transfer you to the real salesperson, is that much easy for them to just build that connection and human connection and convert, apply for that call
Yeah.
or whatever that's needed.
Yeah. Your pitch is making 10x growth possible without 10x complexity. In a market with all these AI solutions, how do you deliver on that promise without over engineering?
Absolutely. The 10x growth, it's actually much more. We're trying to calculate how much growth we can build, right? If our AI agent, let's say a salesperson that never sleeps and have energy to take calls 24 hours, how much growth can it have? How much revenue can that sales agent bring, picking up calls and scheduling appointments daily for 24 hours a day? Explain that in the modern market. What I try to say is that we're not doing something super brand new that has never existed before. There's marketing. We're trying to find leads. There are teams that make sense of what they're trying to do using user analytics data from the internet and social media data. So what we are doing is enhancing that experience, automating the boring tasks or repetitive tasks using AI agents. We're building that much efficiency. If you can save 5 minutes a day with AI, next day you learn how to complete 10 minutes, automate 10 minutes. Then you will automate an hour, 3 hours. Then you're getting 8 hours of work done in 3 hours and you're taking vacation the other day. We're fighting for that opportunity and for everybody that needs it in our community.
Yeah. You described three intelligent AI agents that discover untapped leads, predict conversions, and coordinate omni-channel outreach. What's the secret sauce that makes this different from existing sales automation tools?
That's a very good question. I did mention the multi AI agentic framework where AI agents talk to each other. But now these AI agents also have a hierarchy, right? They have an agent that is validating the work that they're doing, the client score, the lead scoring. We also have AI agents in between these three softwares that communicate, and we call it Q intelligence. So this Q intelligence, if you're our client and you're using our software, will not only have information of the type of leads it's trying to get you provide you advice on the type of leads or marketing campaign you should do on Instagram, Facebook, pulling in information like when it's on a call, it's sending you SMS, a digital business card. It's also updating the leads via sentiment analysis. It can tell if you're a qualified lead or unqualified, meaning you are very interested in this product and you want us to call back to you tomorrow, or you already scheduled an appointment. And scheduling an appointment is easier than saying call back tomorrow, because our AI is very swift at, hey, can we schedule an appointment? What time are you free? You can change anytime you want because you have the digital business card, which has the link to the AI agent that you can talk to if you don't want to call. But if you call, you talk to the AI agent. Everything is there. It's right in your cell phone and everywhere. So that is what makes it different than other solutions out there. And some companies are focusing on voice agent, others are focusing on maybe lead gen, but it's not always a product combined together all in one.
I found a lot of those, maybe one of the three in the mix, but you're really combining them all together to have that cohesive sales experience throughout. That's what I'm hearing you say. And there's a huge advantage to that. So you're not having to speed to lead and convert and then pick up the track with disparate tools, but you're really monitoring that whole life cycle with a single tool.
Yes, absolutely. Think about the marketing campaign on Instagram. On the month of May, when you need to install your sprinkler system or get it started, and you click on that link on Instagram and you're typing your information and you hit submit, our AI agents will call you immediately. And hey, sir, I saw that you clicked on it. And if you don't respond, they'll leave the digital business card with the services they provide, and you can schedule it or call the AI agent to schedule it for you.
Cool. At T-Mobile, you scaled custom GPT capabilities from 2,500 to like 3x that sucker in 2 months. What did you learn about enterprise AI adoption that you're applying to OrionQ?
That's a very good question. What I learned from enterprise AI adoption is that it's not about the complexity, not about teaching people how to code or build complex innate workflow. If you want to teach people about AI adoption, you have to start from the basics and very slow. If you can have these executives just play with ChatGPT and do summarization of whatever they want to know, and then keep using it every day to automate whatever they can, get them into thinking in that specific way. What are the possibilities of automation? Then you're like almost already halfway in. You're successful, right? Because now they have the capability to not only say, what can we automate, but what are the other tools out there that we can use to automate our stuff? So that was our goal, is that we want to introduce ChatGPT in a way that they want to use it, want to talk to it, and automate simple stuff. Then we saw this huge spike when I was having this 30-minute help desk twice a week. I was talking to them and showing them just the possibilities. And every day I would show them just a little bit of what's possible. The following meeting or next week, they would come up with very cool questions about, hey, I wasn't able to accomplish this. In the matter of a month, now they're asking, I need to figure out how to make the prompt better in these custom GPTs. They're already building custom GPTs to do certain workflow every day. After that, now they're asking about APIs. How can I make different automation? What are AI agents? They're starting to see the different tools out there that they can use in their organization. And that is exactly what we wanted while I was working with OpenAI business consultants to also run this AI adoption with T-Mobile. And we saw huge improvements. Each organization, each department is like its own AI powerhouse now. They understand AI. Imagine the impact in their organization with 70,000 people. Huge.
You contributed to an estimated 20 million in projected savings at T-Mobile through AI adoption. What are the most common mistakes enterprises making when implementing AI?
The common mistake that I see enterprises implementing AI is the first thing that they say, let's go build AI. We have $1 million in budget. Let's go build something. What are you really building? Because when I was running AI adoption, I discovered something very important. When I was training these executives on AI, they were telling me about the problems they were having, how to improve it. I collected those problems. Later, those problems turned into use cases. I was able to connect the dots between what are the most common problems these executives are facing and how can we address them. So I made a list of 25 use cases, and then I shortened it to 15, then I shortened it to 10, and then I shortened it to 5. And then I was able to take it to T-Mobile and leadership and say, this is what we found. These are the most common problems they're having. And can we address it? So we were able to find 5 use cases that the developers can work on to build either a chatbot to do support, chatbot to figure out the server response time, or even payroll systems. How do you navigate payroll? How do you understand who deserves a raise versus not? We work with people, but those admin PDFs you get emailed every day. If the AI agent can simplify it for you and say, hey, these are the email you have to look at and respond to, you're already automating and making life easy for yourself.
So if I heard you correctly, that enterprises or businesses are looking at more of the AI and they think that's going to be this huge thing rather than going use case by use case and figuring out how to bring it in smaller chunks. So it's not a bulldozer, it's a ladle. Just move the water, or like you said, it's a shovel. Just move little scoops of dirt rather than thinking you need a bulldozer to move the earth. I think now your shovel metaphor is making sense to me because that's what I heard you say. Did I get that right?
Oh yeah, 100%. Give everybody that little AI shovel and give them the simplest one that they can use. Nothing super complex, nothing, no N8N immediately, but have them use it to automate something. Check on them, show them little by little what's possible. Soon you'll see that they're discovering more, they're learning by themselves. It's like you're rolling the ball by yourself at this point, right? You don't even have to take any courses or anything. You'll start subscribing to medium.com, learning more about your AI, because now you know what the possibilities are. This is an opportunity for you to dig deeper, learn more. Some of these executives started coding too, which is crazy, right? Non-tech, but now they're coding, now they're understanding low-code tools. I can't imagine the efficiency it's going to drive in an organization.
Yeah, super cool. I know you want to talk about N8N. It's super hot. You'll see this little stack in front of me. That's actually a data center. It has its own firewall. It has everything. And I'm running an N8N just for my own personal use, building some agents for taking some data out of my emails, writing emails, that kind of thing. But tell me your experience and how a visual workflow tool like N8N has changed what you've been able to deliver for your clients.
So Aiden was one of those tools that I started working with my development team because I am working full time. I wanted to see an opportunity to build a consultant firm where I automate using N8N and other tools. So my first experience with N8N was really just figuring out, oh, so you can scrape online with N8N and Appify. You can find whatever data you need. You can automate your email and get summary and prioritize your email from 1 to 10. So in the morning, instead of going through 200 emails, you now know which emails to prioritize first. That automation, that's something we started working on in our team. I hired someone from offshore and I was teaching him N8N. And I was like, can you find out about N8N? Can you also find out what is better than N8N? Then came N8N chat. And now we're seeing this huge benefit from using Creo AI and N8N with our Python code, automate things more efficiently. With the rise of AI agents, it's very helpful. You can do a lot with N8N. Don't get me wrong. You
Yeah.
can do a lot, and it's open source. But we're also seeing
Yeah.
benefits and more streamlined use case when we use Creo AI for certain lead gen operations, which we would think N8N, but Creo AI just does it much better.
What I appreciate is that I can still implement my custom Python scripts. If I implement with an AI and I want to do that in code, I don't need an MCP server. Some of the more web-based tools or closed tools like Make are holding me back from what I do well, which is write some code for the things that I can just feel it as code. This is a traditional programming solution rather than everything having to be drag and drop. So I like that versatility. What these tools are really allowing people to do is see the process, what the agent is doing. Rather than it being in a GitHub repository somewhere, they can see it and how it works and experience it. I think that's really powerful for getting comfort with something that's going to be really powerful for them.
I 100% agree. You can see now people have the opportunity to see algorithm like logic being transferred and webhook. You understand what webhook are, and the tools are fun to play with. You can make different logics out of it. Query email, query this, query that, then go scrape with Appify and bring me some Yelp data. It's really fun and awesome, but I think there's some drawbacks to this as well. Traditional coding, as a lead software engineer, I see that traditional coding is not as popular as it used to be. But I think it's very important that we pay attention to that. Because if you're understanding, sure, there's AI agents. What if everything becomes like make.com, where You have this defined environment and you're just building and dragging and dropping, but you don't understand how these things are working. How would you drive efficiency? Because in the world of AI, if you don't make processes efficient enough and if you're adding noise, then you're spending compute and GPUs left to right. And that's why I think that even having the power to differentiate between, oh, this is just an N8N word versus this looks like an N8N plus Python, so important. And how can we get there? How can we get to the point where we know, hey, we have infrastructure as a code. This is the only amount of compute you need. Because if we don't have knowledge on the compute, then you're going to auto scale everything and you're going to blow up thousands of dollars without even knowing how to make it more efficient. Inefficiency means you're taking compute away from other people.
Yeah, I think we're days, weeks, months away from some large error stories. I think the AI agents, the AI based programs, they're not going to make a single mistake like a human might, but they're going to make mistakes at scale. I think it started to happen, but I think more and more we're going to see the negative stories about agent or AI solutions that went sideways, cost thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars, and it just got away from them. Whatever the inaccuracy was, whatever the error was, it got away. And I'm seeing folks go through a tiered process. So tier one is, hey, I'm using ChatGPT with a lot of human in the loop. I've done some of the training that you just talked about, like doing at T-Mobile, where the human's really orchestrating. They're pulling the data in, they're getting a work product, they're pushing that work product to the next stage. I think there's a ton of efficiency there. And then we're moving to this tier two, which is where I think N8N really shines. If I automatically grab the data and I do the LLM integration and then I action it, I can clearly see that this automation is working. And then we get to tier three, which I call the full agentic, outsourcing first tier customer support, the AI agent. But as we do that, I think we really narrow the focus of the agent. We really say, I want you to work on these specific things with this data set. And we get really fixed on the specific thing that we want the AI agent to do. And if we don't do that, I think we're going to get into a bunch of problems. So I think businesses are all progressing through those three tiers, and they should do so with a lot of QA and a lot of caution.
I 100% agree. And I feel like the struggles that we're going through are great struggles as long as we're solving them. In programming computer science, nothing is perfect. When you're building your first code, even a scraper, it can be perfect. We're human beings. But now with AI, you can write code and everything. But the struggle with the weight that it's going through, AI is amazing. If we don't go through that struggle, we wouldn't understand how to build solutions to tackle that accuracy. Because I hear this every day from T-Mobile and other clients that, hey, Rafsan, if I build two custom GPTs, will the output be the same? Because it's not in my case. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. If you want to get accurate output, you need to put guardrails on your GPT. There's a concept in programming. It's called small language model that are popping up here and there. I don't understand the engineering behind small language model, but what it sounds like is that it's more focused LLM model geared towards doing specific work. And if we can
Yeah.
do that and have guardrails on the AI agents, we can use traditional data engineering and machine learning to do quality testing. I think we'll be able to build accuracy because we still need those machine learning models. We still need those data engineering thresholds to understand, okay, this looks off. How did you come up with $200 or whatever? This looks off. Let's go back and see what we did traditionally.
Yeah. And I think some of those use cases need to be extracted out to a traditional program just because using even a small language model is going to introduce some level of error. This agent we've developed solves a million problems, but when they ask that question, we need to ditch out to something very precise. It'll be cool to discover that, even if it loops back to, oh, we should have just traditionally programmed some of this. I think the discovery, because you didn't know what people were going to ask. You didn't know they were going to ask for the exact price of some services or whatever it is, right? I also think if you want to be emotionally connected with the work, the more you use AI, the less emotionally connected you're going to be. I was in a Bible study and I rolled a personal Psalms with AI. As I went to the Bible study, everybody around was more emotionally connected to their work and they probably remember what they wrote. Whereas, yeah, I put a bunch of vulnerable personal details into the prompt, but then I don't even remember what I presented. I accomplished the task, but I missed the point.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I feel like the experience is gone now, right? Because you can get 0 to 100% quickly and you're like, "Oh, yeah, it's doing the report and writing the report for me." But I feel like the experience is so important. So now say, "Make me a profit and loss model and give me a pricing strategy." And you just go to AI and you just create a pricing strategy. This is the overhead, this is how much my tools cost. Write me a pricing strategy. And it gives you a pricing strategy. You didn't even go through the experience of understanding or thinking about it. How should you structure the document? Should you have an overview? What kind of calculation should you do? Right now, the AI agent is just like giving you a calculation that you think it's best. Is there different varieties of calculation? Is there something that you can work with your coworker to get it solved? Having knowledge of what compute to use, how does compute work? Traditional Linux, traditional machine learning, data engineering, these are so important in today's world. On the flip side, people that are doing the profit and loss model, the finance stuff, it's so important to have the basics done because then you'll be able to look at the prompt and be like, no, I don't think that's accurate. I think there's a lot of stuff missing. Let me go back and fix it. And then you can use Claude to do those other calculations and bring it back, or you can do it yourself. But it's so important to go through that experience of working with your coworkers to get to that because it'll be a quality product versus you spitting something out of the AI. It's not always quality.
Been a great conversation with you. If people liked what you've had to share today, how would you like them to connect with you?
Absolutely. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. It's Rafsan Bhuiyan in LinkedIn. I'm the CEO and founder of OrionQ. You can give me a call. It's 469-740-2195. I know people don't usually share their phone numbers. I want somebody to call me. I want them to ask me questions like, hey, what do you think? How do you deal with these things? What is
Yeah.
AI? Because I love talking to people. My first client, our software did not even launch yet, but we already have clients waiting for our software to launch. And it happened in a podcast like this when I was like, let me talk about AI, RPA, robotic process automations. I got discovered. The clients are telecom clients that work with fiber optic cable signals. And I loved it. I've been talking to them for the past 5 years. They call me whenever. It's so important to build a human connection in this day and age. Just call
Yeah.
whenever you like and get that info.
Yeah. Specifically, because I know if your LinkedIn's anything like mine. So, who specifically would you like to have those conversations with right now?
I would like to have conversations with businesses on trying to understand AI. How do I use AI? What is phone voice agent in AI? And I also want conversations with the juniors in college that are going for computer science, trying to understand the AI world, trying to navigate between computer science and AI. Will I have a job or not? The computer science market is not good at this time. And I want them to call me so I can give them the understanding of AI. But if you're in the route of computer science, I want to tell you one thing. Focus on the fundamentals, focus on the coding challenges, focus on compute, especially GPUs. How do they build it? How does it work? How can you make it efficient? What is the opposite of auto scaling? Because if you can solve those problems with this AI, how the demand for compute and GPU is going up, which means somebody's going to have to take the dirty work of making the compute efficient. Otherwise, things are not going to look good in the future.
Yeah, totally agree. I really appreciate you being here today. Thank you so much for your time. I think this has been a great episode. Excited to see where you go from here.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your time as well. Stay connected. Thank you.